Let's talk about Honkai Star Rail. It is a mobile game by MiHoYo, the same company responsible for Honkai Impact III and Genshin Impact. I'm sure a lot of people know what that is. Beginning with the story, it is a sci-fi story in which the standard amnesiac protagonist wakes up from God knows where, totally haven't seen that before by the way, in front of a bunch of random cosplaying strangers who ends up taking them in. Turns out these sexy strangers are called the Trailblazers on a cosmic train called the Astral Express, and they ask the protagonist to help them out. What are they asking the protagonist to help them with? Going to different planets in space and killing the robot disease plaguing the people. Interestingly enough, the protagonist also has a robot disease within them. Basically, this is Gacha Deadpool. My thoughts on the story overall: the robot disease, I couldn't care less. I could care less about the overall goal of killing all the robot diseases in the universe. Realistically speaking, given how much time it takes the Trailblazers to save just one planet, the quest would never end. Let's say you spent only a day saving a planet. Given how many planets there are in the universe, saving one planet a day, let me just look up on the Google, it shouldn't be that big, right? Oh, 10 septillion days that would take you to cure the universe of robot disease. That's almost the total amount of game time of one World of Warcraft player. When it came to the game's plot, what intrigued me the most were the character stories. Came with all different personalities you'll come across, history of the towns and cities you visit, makes the game feel much more immersive. It doesn't really feel like you're talking to NPCs, you're talking to actual people. Now, what do I think about the dialogue? It's tolerable, more tolerable than a lot of mobile games I play. I mean, let's be honest here. Mobile games aren't exactly known to have the best dialogue in the business. But here, it's actually not as bad. The mumbo-jumbo science talk is, for the most part, kept to a minimum. And also, the generic friendship savior mentality is also not as rampant in this game. You do that much for a mobile game, you get a thumbs up from me. What sets this game apart from a lot of other mobile games, in my experience, is the humor. No matter what type of dialogue you're in, you're always given the option to crack a joke. Even in the most serious of situations where it's obviously not appropriate to joke, the game still gives you an option to do it. And sometimes, the jokes that the protagonist does legitimately make me crack up. And I realized, always making jokes in all of the wrong times and constantly getting in trouble for it, that's exactly what I do anyway. It feels like I myself am in the game. Onto the gameplay and UI. Let's start with the battle. It follows an extremely simplified JRPG style. You got 4-player teams, you got a turn-based battle system. The units and enemies deal with HP and energy levels. Your units have regular attacks, they have skills, and they have their ultimates. What makes Honkai Star Rail a little bit more unique is that, similar to other games like Octopath, it shows the weakness elements on top of the enemies you're fighting. However, in this case, unlike games like Octopath, all of the elemental weaknesses are identified already, which I really like. Even as a new player, the easy to understand setup will leave little confusion on how to play. The leveling system, I have nothing wrong with it. It's very easy, not complicated. All the materials needed to level up or ascend your characters are easy to get. Some materials will be harder to get because of the boss difficulty that you're fighting. However, ultimately, you can get everything you need to level up by just clearing dungeons. On the topic of materials, let's move on to farming. It's never been easier. You can click on the materials themselves to check how many of them you have and all of the ways you can obtain those materials. It even lets you immediately choose dungeons that give that material as a reward. If you don't feel like battling, you don't want to do that. What I really love about Honkai Star Rail farming is the emphasis on convenience. Exploration. The game is fairly open world with full accessibility to go to every location you've been in most of the time. The fast traveling is perfect in this game. I have no issue with it. The loading times are near instant, and overall, again, it's just very convenient. The quests themselves. What I like about the quests in this game is that objectives are almost always marked. Even the ones where you need to find something and you do have to actually scavenge. It doesn't waste time at all leaving you in a random goose chase. Oftentimes, it will point a direct marker to the exact object you need to get. Even if it doesn't put a marker, it still gives you a very small area on where to search, and it'll take you 2 minutes to find what you need to get. With the mission menus, every mission directly links you to the quests or activities required. It's all super convenient. I'm going back to that again. People might complain the game is holding your hand too much with showing you where everything is. Oh, I want to figure some stuff out myself. Me personally, I don't give a shit. It's a mobile game. It's not that deep. Anything to make my gaming experience easier is a positive. Now, lastly, with the quests, I want to talk about the dailies because dailies are very important in gacha games. What's cool about the dailies is they change change from day to day. You don't have the same set of quests that you did yesterday, nor are you going to have the same quests that you have tomorrow. So you're not doing the same exact thing every single time you play, and I think that's great. It also helps a lot with players not burning out of the game. One huge con that I continuously find with a lot of mobile games is the daily missions, doing them over and over and over again, gets very tiring very fast. And in my opinion, it's ultimately what kills most people's interest in playing the game. With here, I have to give props to Honkai Star Rail. It's a lot better than usual. And because of that, I think a lot of people are going to end up sticking with the game for a while. With that out of the way, we got to talk about music. How is the soundtrack for Honkai Star Rail? I think it's amazing. It's a great mix of genres, EDM, R&B, classical. I even hear a little bit of folk and rock music. And despite the fact that it's a sci-fi game, the OST isn't all just... There's diversity in it. I listened to the entire soundtrack, some standout songs that I really like: Star Rail, Spacewalk, Scientific Fiction, Deep Within, Flow Experience, Hearthfire, Faded Sun, Godfather, Order, and, come on, you know I had to mention this, frickin' Wildfire. We made a choice, go fight against your fate. The gacha in this game, it's alright. One complaint that I have of the gacha system in Honkai Star Rail is that you basically have to start saving your summon resources right when you begin the game. Only really want to summon on the generic banners when you acquire over time enough tickets. I don't recommend buying the tickets outright from the store because you're gonna have to save all of your jades for special banners that pop up, where the rates for the units are much higher. Grinding for jades, I'll be honest, takes a while. Even as a new player, you don't want to start splurging outright. So gathering all the units that you want, even if you're a whale, will take time. But fortunately, the game does give you some pretty good units at the beginning for free, so you aren't completely left in the dark if you can't get anyone. From my personal experience, you really only need one copy. Getting copies makes your unit stronger, of course, but if you can't do that, they're still very much usable. Just be patient, and over time, your roster will organically get more and more characters. Now, my overall thoughts of Honkai Star Rail. I gotta say, this is one of the best mobile games of 2023, and a game that I will be playing for a good amount of time. Am I gonna end up sticking to it for years and years like I did with Final Fantasy Opera Omnia? Probably not. But objectively wise, I have to say this mobile game is amazing and is going to be a big contender for future gacha games this year to beat. Let me know your guys' experience with Honkai Star Rail. Make sure to comment down below. Let's have a chat. Thank you guys so much for watching with me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!